and we are on to the Rift for game 3 of the day. It's going to be Go coming up against Carmine Corp, the reigning EU Masters champions, and they are looking to continue their form on from that tournament. Obviously a bit of a shaky week 1. Go, in contrast, having a very strong week 1 as we see the 5-man kind of doing their Abbey Road Beetle walk down. We see them descending. We don't know what's waiting for them. It could be 5 people on the other side right now. We wouldn't know.
It's not.
It's not. Surprise.
Unfortunately, we are heading for a very boring 5-man split for Carmine Corp. Hate to see it. No level 1 engagements. Not what we wanted. But Go are going for this early aggressive ward. It looks like into the jungle. He should be fine here. This is just going to be warding down, and expect that on the bot side there'd be like a translation ward from Reckless and Pantera to put a little bit more vision down. But it looks like AC, they may want to fight here. I'm not sure.
Just getting Saken a little bit of DPM numbers out. Nice to see.
Delay the backs.
Not quite. Reckless and Pantera might offer a bit of interference. They're quite a ways away from bot lane with it being 10 seconds to red spawning. They're looking for a late invader, looks like. Going to be bullying Kareem off of this red buff, and that means that he has to start on the blue buff. Might have maybe liked to have been pathing towards this bot lane, but doesn't seem to be the case anymore. He's going to actually just go for a solo start onto the Wolves.
Okay. Alright, so steal away at the Raptor cap.
You had to take a brief second there. Some auspicious stars being presented thus far.
Yeah, it's not a level 1 that we're used to. Now this is Volibear kind of doing what Volibear can do and just solo invading. Now,
Kareem is coming to this.
Yeah, everybody's going to battle. This is going to be another fight, I feel like.
Here he goes. He gets the E onto 113 now. Smite is going to be available for both of them. Volibear's going to be the one that gets it. 113 gets it. He has level 2 now. Can Kareem find the fight here? He can't. And this is a massive victory for Team KC thus far in this game. And Kareem has to walk the walk of shame back to his blue buff as a massive advantage thus far for 113.
Yeah, I mean, it is very hard to outsmite Volibear. He gets W2 plus E plus you know, smite. And you time that with an auto attack, that's like 700 effective damage inside a second. If you can frame perfect all of those, there's just no chance you outsmite. And 113 nails the combo, nails the smite down, and Kareem really doesn't have a lot to say about it. His solo lane's kind of forced into dueling. You can see that Cabo and Saken, even though we couldn't see it, but on the minimap they were always pressuring, sort of threatening, hey, if you move now, we're going to move with you and make your life miserable.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we talked about. I mentioned it to you before we started the game, is how much, in terms of a safety net for the early aggression that can come up from Carmine Corp, how much of a safety net is there? Answer seems to be thus far in terms of the map setup that Carmine Corp have gone for, not much, and it could actually translate to an even bigger lead in the oncoming minutes.
Yeah, Volibear does really well with these winning lanes. Obviously, they got counter-picked in top lane, and the Karma is never really picked to be that lane-dominant threat. More so just here to facilitate everything that Go are going to be doing a little bit later on in the game. So, for the most part, 113 going to be very happy to kind of play with impunity at this stage in the game. Kind of just go around and do what he wants.
Yeah, completely the case. And talk me through this matchup, because we saw Smiley play this Senaton Kenshi in the day 1. We obviously know that he plays it. How does this Seraphine lane differ to that traditional lane? Are they in danger of being engaged on by Rakan at all times? Or do they have a bit more stopping power than I might imagine in my head?
They're in danger of being engaged on. They're never really in danger of dying, I think is the important caveat.
That's the important part, yeah, okay.
Because worst case scenario is we have, you know, 2 heals effectively, plus summon a heal. We've got Senna Q plus Empowered W from Wagner. I mean, you know, like the worst case scenario does come to be. We can use Empowered W to get out to safety, get a bit more movement speed. You then also got the Shroud from Senna, which means it's even more difficult to try and close that gap. Sometimes Rex can't auto-attack, you can't see anyone. The safety of this bot lane is rather unparalleled. So these engagements that Pantera may look for are going to largely be ineffective, and this is honestly why I think that Carmine Corp have got a good little early game matchup, because Pantera really doesn't have to do anything in this game or in the laning phase. He can just sort of move about the map, and he'll have largely the same impact.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally we see this is around the time that Pantera, you know, puts his tent down and somewhere else on the map and starts roaming around. He's not quite managed to get to that. Does a lot of that owe to some of the pushing power that this Senna and Seraphine have? Can they keep Pantera in this laning phase, or is it going to be the case that we see him roaming soon, like you said?
I think they can. Seraphine certainly has push power. It's more so that Wagner is being very conservative with the mana, and they're dictating where the lane is at important points. You can see that with Kareem starting on that dragon, it looks like, or at least on that bot side, you'd imagine if they wanted to go for it, there'd be that push coming through. And Magnum just sort of says, hey, you know what? Now you want to go for the Drake? Fine, we'll push in this bot wave. It looks like Seiken on that roam, push and roam style. There's a blast cone, or rather.
As Ghost available, Wagner and dodges out from Hantera's W there, which means they do get alerted to the play, especially now with 113 clearing out that ward. Crisis averted for now. But when we get to that level 6 mark from Nocturne, it's going to be even more danger, I suppose.
Yeah, that Scuttle Crab from the bot side, Green managed to take that, and it sort of alerted them to the play just in time for that Hantera engage to come through, so everybody gets out to safety. Like I say, you're in danger of getting engaged on, you're never really in danger of dying.
Q has 6 here.
Yeah, small window.
6 goes aggressively. That's going to be a solo kill for the young rookie that we talked about having such an impressive week 1. It does end up being a trade, but with that wave in tandem, that is going to be a very good trade for NUQ and exactly what Go will have needed to bounce back in this early game.
Yeah, and if that second wave crashes under the turret, which I think it will, it's going to start to bounce back out as well, and it gives NUQ the window then to come away with a very sizable advantage. Remember that this Jax is picked as the counter to the Gwen. NUQ finding that solo kill is not something that you anticipate would happen, but that Ignite difference in the top lane really showing up, really having that impact that, you know, was so desperately needed, I suppose. And with that happening, Go's composition revolves largely around having 2 really strong carries. One of them is going to be NUQ, the other expected to be Smiley a little later on in the game. One of them gets accelerated, it makes their comp function much, much better.
Yeah, indeed, and we're getting to that point now. We talked about Seiken. You spoke about how this was a pick that you feel like enables his style. He likes to go for that heavy roam play style. He's now level 6. Where do you think he's going to be trying to put that pressure towards in regards to his roams and his ultimates?
Well, you know, we're looking to see if they can go top or bot lane, honestly. Tilly just wants to affect either side lane. When
that's an easy answer. That's an easy answer.
I'm answering. When you've got Gwen top side matchup, right, you kind of have to affect this volatile lane, and they're looking to do that right now. But look at the map. Kareem is here. I just don't know if it's enough.
Kareem is here. He's rather low health, has the half-pound axe in his inventory. Here comes 113. They can disable the turret here, and UQ is back. Cabashard's done a good job of finding Kareem here. Target selection is good so far, and UQ has to get back under this turret and collect this massive wave. Ronaldo is here now, though. Seiken has to flash out potentially in a second or so, and UQ goes quite low. Volibear E is down here. Talia gets a response kill. Cabashard goes low as well. Can Ronaldo find it? Q will do it, and that is going to be, in conclusion, 2 kills for the side of Go, 2 kills for the side of Carmine Corp. Go do a very good job of responding. Reckless has just flashed into the Seraphine. He's going to walk away from it.
The flash buys the distance, and that's what's important. It doesn't matter that he's, you know, still gets caught by it. It means that Smiley can't follow up with the damage so far underneath the turret. A 2 for 2 in the top side, though, and overall it is Go that just about come out on top. There's a big wave that's caught, unfortunately, by Ronaldo. Initially, I was going to say that it's fine that Kareem went and sacrificed himself because NUQ would have been able to stay for the massive wave under the turret. Unfortunately, that didn't get to be the case, right? You can look at this massive stack that's coming in. The fact that Kareem walks up here and is then the focus, it's honestly fine overall. You know, he even buys a little bit of time, gets the flash from Cabo. Overall, not the worst case scenario. And then Ronaldo comes in, kind of a savior, because they are going to go for the redive here. The fact that they get 2 from this is really good.
Yeah, really huge individual performances there. It's always scary when you're playing a champion like Karma. Luckily, Cabo goes low enough, but when you start getting, like, if he has the E back in a second or so, then you start to get a little bit afraid, but they are able to find the return kills there, which means very good things for them, obviously equaling up the gold lead. And Kareem is ulted into the mid lane here. He's going to get the paranoia onto the Talia there, but DOS is here to respond. That's going to be the first ultimate from Nocturne of the game, and not much being able to be found.
No, Hantera making his roam into the mid lane here, Jake. Making the presence felt. Nice little boot from Seiken as well.
God, I'm thinking of DOS's Rakan from last game. That's
it's okay, I've done it before. We all have. It was a good little boot from Seiken, honestly. Probably didn't need Hantera to be there, but good overall to, you know, have that presence of mind. Gets a nice little boot away and himself alive in that case. No flash extended either, which is really good when the 5v5 starts to come through, when we see these engagements more so a little bit later on, having that flash ready if you want to try and channel or change some CC between both 1-1-3 and then Seiken as well.
UQ might be in trouble here. He's going to get stunned out. Hantera comes in with the quickness. He's going to be getting the charm out in a second or so. Center ultimate response is not going to be enough. It's another kill for 113. And that top lane matchup that was going so well, it was propping up Go in this early game, getting that kill response, is now falling to pieces. 2 quick deaths in succession for the Go top laner.
Yeah, and this is what I was hoping for from Cabo and from Carmine Corp. You expect them to play toward their top lane. You always look to this team to facilitate Cabo Shard and set up for a snowball in the top side. Even though he got killed early on and his wave wasn't in the best position, Carmine Corp do what Carmine Corp do best, and they hammer down any opponent that try and challenge their top side. Get that turret, get a couple kills now as well. Really good timings on their plays. The response on the opposite side of the map has been pretty negligible, you know. 3 plates falling and a CS deficit for Wagner is not necessarily the worst thing.
Ultimate comes out. Zyra Ultimate obviously going to be primed in response. It is going to be a trade-off of those cooldowns, but Cabochard was able to pick up this tier 2 as well. It's not just a tier 1, and he is going to be so accelerated. I'm not entirely sure, because remember in week 1, I said, can we do this on production? And you said that we couldn't. Pretty sure we can. Can we look at the gold gap between the top laners now, please, production? Okay, and as you can see, quick mouse, it's around 1600 gold lead. A lot of that gold lead that you're seeing at the top of your screen is actually coming from Cabochard now. He's really enabled going forwards now to carry this game. Wagner gets, well, a little bit here, but Senna W in response is going to be a little bit of damage in response. 113 is coming around the side though.
Spotted on a ward, nice forward warding from Team Ghost bot side there. You can see the one that's just lurking behind, one that Carmine Corp aren't actually going to spot out, so they're just operating under, you know, great game sense from the Go bot lane. You know, really good that they just expect that that gank comes through at that window. They had full vision, they knew it was coming through, and then they quite rightly back off accordingly. So nice little play down on the bot side for Go, and this is a composition that we were talking about. We didn't expect it to be winning early. We expected Carmine Corp to be able to pretty much dictate the early game. For Carmine Corp, the question becomes, how much more can they do? Can they continue to push the snowball down the hill and, you know, take the win of the game? Or are they going to start to struggle, start to hemorrhage that lead and potentially have some troubles? They have got a very fed top laner. Cabochard completed his mythic, got tier 2 boots, which is giving him some tenacity, which up against this team can be very useful. And, you know, he's the fed member of Carmine Corp right now. Needs to start facilitating leads and growing their advantage.
We need to start doing a segment on our little cast together of how many Lucidity boots per game, because
True.
It's starting to get ridiculous. 3 on the side of Go, 1 on the side of Carmine Corp. It's not quite similar to Game Ward's 5. Oh, 4 on Go now. It's an ongoing of the Go Lucidity boots. Obviously a lot stronger. I hadn't quite accounted for the fact that ability haste would be stronger on this patch. Can you explain that to me? Get my head wrapped around that?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I haven't done the math. I haven't worked it out. We'll move on.
And run the numbers.
Go
I was hoping. You know, I'm rather stupid in this regard. I was really relying on you there.
More cooldowns, more damage against more health is good.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Going to be a potential dive happening here. They do clear out the ward. Nocturne is stuck in that mid lane, clearing out the ward. Teleport is available. It's going rather slowly. Here comes Reckless. Here comes 113. Flash forward. Teleport in response almost immediately. Seraphino comes out. Center ult does not get out quite in this end there. He does go down eventually before he can prime it. It's a quick kill in succession in response to the teleport. Carmine Corp get what they want and walk away.
Yeah, it's the game of chicken that these guys are playing, right? You have those TPs that you don't want to use if they don't go for the dive, but that you have to use to defend against the dive. So Carmine Corp pull the trigger, they get in, they get out, and they've done it before that TP can come through. And ultimately, a Karma TPing down is a much different story to a Gwen TPing down. Karma's going to provide a little shield to somebody and potentially a little splash of damage. But if a Gwen TP's down there, that can potentially turn the fight round 3 for 3. Now, overall, it's still a very good play for Carmine Corp. They don't get the turrets. They'll be able to repeat on that if they so desire. They do burn a lot of summoner spells. On the flip side, you know, we've got rid of Smiley's Flash plus Exhaust, TP that we mentioned from Ronaldo. So a really nice positive play, and once again, looking to accelerate their goal.
Yeah, and absolutely rooted. We spoke about how that safety net is not available for Go in this early game. Now we got onto a point where the blunt force trauma of some of these top lane players, 113's early aggression, is meaning that Go are hemorrhaging at the seams. What kind of a band-aid do they have in response to this game? Can they get towards this next dragon? Can they find something, and what does it come in the form under?
Their team fighting is still very good. They still have a very good 5v5 setup. If they can set up with that, you know, initial engagement, potentially use that paranoia not just to be that disengaged tool, and go with Nuku, go with Kareem, and use the Ronaldo shield to potentially set them all up, right? You know, we've seen Mantra E plus Shirelia's here can do, you know, is a better Sivir ulti for a short period of time. And then you've got the extra shielding that can come through, support from Seraphine and Senna with their ults. Carmine Corp, like I say, they can repeat on this with the turret down, not being down here. They just go again. Reaver's wall ready too.
Is here. Ronaldo is very late to this, but it is going to mean some of the push is stapled. Slowed down at least for now. Nice little bit of map play. It is going to mean that Carmine Corp do have first move onto this dragon. Cheeky, this is my least favorite thing that top laners do. Look at NUQ, man. You got the solo kill, you got killed a few times, and now you're taking your jungler's red, man. So ungrateful, these laners. It's not going to be any use. It's not going to be any use for you anyway.
I disagree. Gwen is very good with a red buff. Gwen is very good with a red buff.
No, but I mean more. Do you think this red buff means this matchup he's able to play against Jax now?
Well, clearly Cabochard thinks that. Well, maybe Cabochard thinks that a 4v1's a little too much in fairness.
Yeah, well, he's not that strong yet.
You know, it doesn't matter whether he can turn the tides or not. It's more of a statement piece. You know, I can take this Drake. I can take this red buff. What are you going to do about it here, Kareem?
I'm talking from purely jungler bias. It's going to be Jax getting caught out a little bit here, but he's going to be retreating back to his jungle. Purely from a jungler's perspective, it's my least favorite thing to see Elena walk away with my buff before 20 minutes or so. We're obviously at 16 minutes now. So, you know, I'm going to admit to a bit of emotional immaturity, rude dude. My nerves really flared up there.
I mean, look at Kareem's build thus far. We are sat on the components of a stride break.
I feel like he's had these items for about 10 minutes now.
Yeah, and you're probably right. These are like, you know, second clear base items, effectively, right? Tier 2 boots in there, you know, that's the second clear item.
He must have a fair amount of goals, no? Production, can we see how much gold? Can we see how much gold Kareem has right now?
We're testing. Production. Gold.
Yeah, he's got 1,500 gold right now. He's got a third of his whole purse, essentially.
That's a lot.
I was wondering,
isn't it?
we spoke about how Boris can be kind of a cruel shopkeeper sometimes. And it seems to be that Kareem's credit card is not entirely maxed out. He's going to be able to buy something when he goes back to base. What he buys is brought up for question. It seems to be building towards that. Stride breaker that we see for the Nocturne quite often, obviously falling behind somewhat in the economy, is go. But there are chances. They are moving towards that inevitable win condition of getting to that later phase of the game. Rude dude, how is the game shaping up for them in terms of can they hemorrhage? Can they stabilize it? It's going to be an ultimate. Wagner is caught between a rock and a hard place here. He is going to come out in response. They go quite low, but there is so much stopping power. The Rift Herald is going to be in the mid lane. Turret goes down there. Wagner has to flash out. It's a good ultimate in response, though. Here comes Nuku. Hantera goes forward. He goes into stasis. They need to find him almost immediately. The Seraphine cooldowns were not timed entirely well here. There's so much shields, so much stopping power that we talked about. Cabochard has to flash away here now. The fight has come to an end now. They can't find much more than the mid turret. This is how we talked about this composition from Go. So many shields, so much healing.
A lot of pretty colours, a lot of summoner spells, but no kills. Carmine Corp not quite able to finish the job. The mana bars of Team Go severely lacking, but Ronaldo, Smiley, Wagner, they've got enough power between them to keep the composition alive, to keep everybody going. I was thinking, why are Wagner and Ronaldo not just flashing when they get pent behind that wall? They're just like, we don't need to. We've got 4,000 effective health.
We're not in danger. We're not locked in here. You're locked in here with us.
Exactly. I was so questioning that, and then all of a sudden they just live, and I'm like, well, I guess that makes a lot of sense. They, you know, use their team fighting composition to team fight, and when you're down in gold, going even is always better. And the fact that they don't lose anybody, very good. Like we mentioned, you know, a lot of cooldowns burned by Carmine Corp that aren't going to be available if there was to be another fight impending soon.
The Ocean Soul. I feel like we've had so many Ocean Souls today, Rude Dude. Yeah, well, yeah, Rude Dude. Thanks for your, thanks for that. That's great. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime, bro. Don't worry about it.
No worries, man. This is the analysis that we get you in for. You were talking about, what were you talking about earlier?
What do you want from me? You feel like we've had Ocean Souls? We've had Ocean Souls. What do you want? Oh, yeah, the Ocean Soul percentage is 20% every game.
Oh, yeah, that's your job, you nerd. You're the color caster. You're meant to come out with all the nerdy statistics and stuff like that. So far, there's going to be an ultimate coming out from Saken, but it is just to run away from this turret, move towards this tier 2 bottom lane. It's actually quite an underrated usage of that, but Nuku, trying to get them off this turret here. So tier 2 not quite yours yet.
No, and quite rightly, you don't want to be just giving up that much gold for free. It is effectively 2 kills worth, shared between everybody when there's a lot of people around. So getting away with using that Weaver's Wall for ultimately nothing, it's a good little bit of chip damage, and potentially if Team Go look for something on the other side of the map, they can use the fact that there's a little bit more damage on that tier 2 to accelerate toward the base. But by and large, nothing particularly scary by Carmine Corp from that play in particular. I want to quickly touch on the item build for Cabo Shard. He's gone for the Wit's End and the Mercury Prez, obviously heading very heavily into that magic resistance. And when we look at the physical damage for Go, yes, Nocturne does physical damage, but he's not going to be trying to focus down Cabo. It is going to be relying on exclusively Smiley to be that physical damage threat. Who, yes, we mentioned Senna doesn't farm, is still, doing okay in the department of items, has got the full Eclipse completed, working toward that rapid fire cannon. But getting through Cabo Shard is going to be very difficult because this Senna is still on a support and a half's income. And the rest of the team is going to be dealing magic damage to a Jax with a lot of MR.
Yeah, completely agree with you, Rude Dude. What's this dragon now? 2 seconds is the spawn time ago. Realize they can't really do this. They have benefited from taking that first dragon, which means that win condition is going to get slightly slowed down for Carmine Corp. But it can't be stated enough that this is a 5,000 gold lead, and although that gold lead is going to mean less and less as the game goes on, right now they are capitalizing on this gold lead, moving towards these turrets, building their pressure along the map, moving these vision lines forward. And when that Baron does become on the table, which it already is obviously, but when it becomes more of an option for them, should be seeing them pivot their aggression towards this, because I think I would be right in saying, Rude Dude, they need to close out this game relatively soon. Yeah, they do. They certainly want to close this out sooner rather than later. That's not an issue. Mountain response here. Kareem goes in deep. They're all routed here. Ronaldo is going to be getting engaged on counter. It's a big Seraphine ult, only one. That means 113 gets to find his way out here. It's a big engaged counter from Seiken in the back line here. They're trying to find anything here. Cabashard going quite low here. Nuku is gone in quite deep here. Hantera finds the quickness onto him, which means that his engage is stopped for now. And this is the key theme of some of these fights so far. So many cooldowns being burned, but not enough being able to be found by both sides. They're going to go for the Baron here. Nuku is heading the wrong direction. I think it's just a clearing of vision and making sure that everything's good to go. I thought people heading up to that top side. I was like, huh, okay, bold. They do have the sustain for it, but like you say, right, it is just a lot of these cooldowns being thrown, not a lot of kills being able to be generated. Because on one side, there's a lot of shielding coming through from Go. On the same side, there's not a lot of damage yet. They're still waiting for their Senna to tick up. Still waiting for that Gwen to hit 2 items, hit that 3rd item as well, potentially. Or she's going to be a complete monster. Nuku sat with the Riftmaker and the Nash's components. Not quite that present threat that is going to destroy a team fight yet. And it sounds silly to say with a 6,000 or 7,000 gold lead essentially. But what do Carmine Corp need to win a decisive fight? They need picks, I think. Like we've mentioned, if Go were in a 5v5, they're going to be near impossible to kill because they have got Darkness to stop any engage, to potentially stop any engages, to slow them down at the very least. They've got a ton of shields from a lot of players, and they're going to consistently struggle to try and find it. Alternatively, it's Cabo Shard in a side lane. Potentially he can find the 1v1 versus Nuku, has itemized very heavily toward it. So that's your best window to try and pick things off. We talked about it in the draft that we were hoping for side laning from Carmine Corp, and I think that this is how they're going to look to do it. Force a Baron, and they can either use TP from Cabo, or just get the TP from Nuku, and then send Cabo back down to that side lane. You're going quite low, almost immediately, as they do get off of it. I think they're just more so looking to get that teleport burned from Nuku so they can look to revisit afterwards. They do have the option to just turn back and forward, play the dance around the Baron, force a move from Go, force a bit more here. Well, they don't have the indefinite sustain that Team Go do, but with Cabo Shard around, it looks like they're already just going to commit to this. 5k on it. It's around 3k now. Hantera hasn't engaged off to the side here. It's going to go low. 1k is it? It's going to be a Paranoia goes in here. Kareem not going to have that much ability to do much here. It's a case now. Can Carmine Corp walk out with the Baron here? Oh, we're trying to find something. They don't have primary engage though. And just sneak away here. They're not going to be able to find anything. It's going to be the case that Go pivot towards that mid lane. We spoke about this. We keep talking about how the gold lead is going to end up meaning good things for Go, but they have to get to that point. Right now, it is a pretty insurmountable amount of gold to have at this point in time. And KC are doing a good job of keeping on to that, further consolidating the lead. There's an aggressive teleport coming from the back line here. Kabashar going to come in from a flank here, has the flash available as well. Actually, Prime and E here doesn't quite find it, but it's going to mean that this push here for this 2-2 in the mid lane is going to be potentially more fruitful. Bad choke for Go. Comes Kabashard, finds the stun onto Vignerum here. He's going to get his stunned up in turn. They're all going to get pushed away here with the Talia roll. Kabashard's over there trying to get rid of Kareem. Find the tier 2 now. And Go are going to be hard-pressed to reset in time to stop an inhibitor from falling. It's going to be KC marching on towards this base.
Yeah, really good TP. Despite the fact that they don't get the base, it forces them out of mid lane. And then that gives Carmine Corp the priority to walk up through this mid lane, use their Baron to get 2 turrets, get this inhibitor as well. Wave was prepped in the top side as well that they could have moved up there. Looks like they may well look for something. You can see there's a hesitancy.
Comes Kareem, but he's already chunked so hard by the Talia. It's going to be him going in. Not quite demonstrating the patience that he needed there. Goes straight into his death, and it's going to mean Seiken going forward. A lot of these Qs just railing through the shields of Go. Top lane wave coming in as well is going to mean there's a second inhibitor opening up soon.
Of course, very difficult to try and find a fight with no Nocturne engaged. You don't have Senna ulti either. Seraphine's Encore may be able to dissuade enough of a fight from Carmine Corp, but double inhib, very scary.
Yeah, very scary in terms of being able to clear that out. They're obviously going to be moving towards the third dragon as well. But I don't necessarily think with the way this game is going, it's 2 inhibitors now with the Baron primed up for a minute or so now as well. Should be the case that Go are going to be fighting for their lives in this game in the oncoming minutes. Is there any hope left for Go, Mr. Rude Dude? You seem to be the hope merchant around these parts. Always hope.
I think there's always hope. Until the Nexus falls.
I don't know that that's true. There's not always hope, Rude Dude.
In this game, I think there's always hope. Until that Nexus falls, you still have the better team fight team. Despite the fact that you're down this much gold, I think that, or the fact that you're down this much gold is the issue. But we saw it in just our last game with Mirage, right? You have the better team fight composition. Who's going to say that, you know, this time it's not going to be a Jinx popping off, but it could well be Smiley able to dish out damage. It could well be Nuke with all of the shielding, with all the damage that can, you know, be that X factor in a team fight. Until the Nexus falls, I think that Go have a chance. They are down so astronomically. Don't get me wrong, this is a very difficult game for them to play out and for them to win, but there's still that chance.
Yeah, I think with the fact that they're going to be moving towards this third inhibitor now, it's going to be even more difficult for them to find anything. Important to note as well is Smiley won't have his flash available for this fight, and they're going to be getting pincered here. It's going to be the knockdown out in response here. Big engage coming out from Antera means that Smiley tries to find anything here. 1-1-3 going to be walking away from Inyuku here. They're onto the third inhibitor as well, but they're licking their wounds somewhat, Carmine Corp, as they walk away here. Smiley quite low as well. Rattling of Qs comes out from Seiken. Lots of heals and lots of speed ups coming out from the Karma and Seraphine in tandem.
But
Lots
job
of
done.
waves
They get the
climbing.
inhibitor. 3 inhibs are down now, and Go have lost all of their inhibs. Now, KC can just sit and watch the minions destroy their base.
2 big waves coming in from top and mid. Well, as a bot lane turret, they're onto the Nexus turret here. It's a big catch onto Ronaldo. He has to flash out. 1-1-3 is forward here. He goes quite low, but the Nexus turret is found. Nuke's doing as much as he can to clear out some of these waves. But here comes your mid wave. Here comes your top wave as well. What can Go do in terms of finding that stopping power? Would it be Carmine Corp taking their foot off the pedal just for a second? It looks to be the case that Seiken is going back to base, and Go lives to fight another day, but for how long?
They have 1 Nexus turret, and the likelihood is that that Baron is going to fall as well. And it should well go the way of Carmine Corp. And then at that point, you have triple waves of double super minions crashing into your Nexus up against a Baron buff as well. That is near indefensible. You need to find a fight immediately if you Go. I like that they tried to get one at that bot lane inhibitor. They didn't come out with the win, and unfortunately, it could just be that sealing of the deal, and that ultimately the game could just be done for now. They need to get out and get a fight before these minions can start to pile up, because even if they get the 1 team fight, those minions are going to be dishing out so much damage. Smiley's got a ton of souls from all of these minions that are dying, but I don't know that still if that's enough.
Yeah, it seems to be the case for a lot of these fights for Team Go. They try and fight, they survive a long time in these team fights, but they're not necessarily outputting that much damage in response to Carmine Corp, so they're just surviving and choosing the date of their death for a bit longer. But this could be a post-mortem game so far. Kareem goes in, but he gets taken down very low almost immediately. Q will almost do the job, but not quite. New Q is in deep. Zyro out in response, but Reckless is the one going forward that finds him. It's going to be Smiley going down as well. Vigram getting engaged on by 113, and that is going to be all that she wrote. Carmine Corp in their third game of the split. Back to regular form after a slight different form against Mirage, and they're onto the base now. Very good victory for them.
Yeah, and it was just too little too late, unfortunately. Go knew they had to find the fight, but there were just too many minions that would have done too much damage, and overall Carmine Corp are able to net themselves their second win of the tournament. They'd level up their scores with Team Go there, and the Senna Seraphine composition just falling